The last place anyone expected to find sparks was between Jishu, the quiet, rule-abiding, top-of-his-class golden boy, and Luzhou Chen, the unpredictable rebel with a reputation for breaking rules and hearts alike. But when life throws the unexpected in your path, sometimes it creates the kind of story that refuses to be forgotten. Jishu had always lived in the background of perfection. He was the model student. Neat handwriting, impeccable grades, a planner filled with color-coded tabs, a quiet life with few friends but many expectations. Teachers admired him, parents praised him, and peers envied him, though they never really knew him. What they saw was the polished surface, never the pressure pulsing beneath it. His days were a blur of classes, study sessions, and lonely walks home. His routine was strict, safe, and suffocating. Then came Luzhou Chen. She transferred in the middle of the term, late, loud, and wrapped in rumors. Whispers followed her, expelled from her last school, fights with students, detention records thicker than textbooks. She had an aura about her that was both dangerous and magnetic. Her dyed streaks, chipped nail polish, and the ever-present smirk made her the type of person teachers kept a close eye on and students kept a wide berth from or gravitated toward in secret fascination. Their worlds should have never collided. Yet somehow, they did. It started during chemistry lab. Partner assignments were random, and Jishu found his usual partner absent. The teacher, tired of the disruption Luzhou caused by sitting out or refusing to participate, paired her with him, hoping Jishu's influence might rub off. Neither of them was pleased. She rolled her eyes. "Don't think I'll do anything," she muttered. "I'll handle it," Jishu replied without looking at her. Their first few sessions were painfully silent, filled with the quiet scratching of Jishu's pen and Luzhou's occasional sighs of boredom. But over time, something shifted. Jishu noticed that despite her laziness in class, Luzhou was sharp, her observations spot on when she bothered to speak. She had an instinct for reactions and combinations, something intuitive he couldn't explain. And Luzhou began to notice how, behind Jishu's polished front, there was a softness. An ache in his eyes when he thought no one was looking. A loneliness that mirrored her own. One afternoon, after a particularly explosive lab accident, caused by Luzhou's experiment with mixing chemicals she wasn't supposed to, they were both sentenced to clean-up duty. The punishment sparked something unexpected. With no teacher watching, they talked. About music. About how fake everyone at school seemed. About how Jishu hated the pressure, and how Luzhou hated being judged before she even opened her mouth. They started staying back longer than required. What began as casual banter became late-night texts. Jokes turned into secrets. Their world slowly contracted until it often felt like just the two of them against everything else. Jishu, for the first time, felt alive. He started missing morning classes, not often, but enough to raise eyebrows. He laughed more. Stood up to a teacher once. Luzhou started submitting homework, not all of it, but enough to surprise the staff. She still got in trouble, still pushed boundaries, but Jishu's presence steadied her. And her fire gave him courage. The school noticed. So did their classmates. Whispers turned to rumors. The golden boy had fallen for the rebel. People called it a phase. A distraction. A disaster waiting to happen. But they didn't understand what it was like for Jishu to finally feel seen, or for Luzhou to feel safe. Then came the tipping point. Luzhou got into a fight with a senior who insulted her in front of Jishu. He didn't fight back physically, but the altercation escalated when he stood up for her, verbally attacking the senior with truths that no one dared to say aloud. It was the first time the school saw Jishu lose his cool. Both were suspended. At home, things were worse. Jishu's parents were furious. Luzhou's guardians didn't even pretend to care. The suspension became the perfect excuse for them to consider transferring her again. Luzhou acted like she didn't care. She shrugged it off, smirked, and said it was bound to happen. But Jishu saw the pain. She didn't want to leave. Not anymore. In the days that followed, their time together became more intense, more desperate. They met in secret parks, rooftops, abandoned classrooms. They knew time was slipping away. That soon, The walls would close in and their connection would be dismissed as teenage foolishness. Jishu, against all odds, fought back. He went to the school board. He defended Luzhou's case. Presented her improved grades, her attendance records, even testimonials from a few teachers she'd slowly won over. It was risky. It went against his nature. But for her, he would fight. Luzhou, for the first time, let herself hope. Eventually, it worked. The school agreed to let her stay on probation. And everything shifted again. Now, their relationship wasn't just about escaping their own broken pieces. It was about rebuilding. Luzhou started helping underclassmen who struggled in subjects she understood. Jishu joined the music club, something he'd always wanted but was afraid of being judged for. They balanced each other in a way no one expected. Of course, not everything was perfect. They argued. Luzhou sometimes ghosted him for days when her mood spiraled. Jishu sometimes retreated into his books, hiding from emotions he didn't know how to handle. But they learned. They grew. Together, they weren't just opposites. They were complements. Light and shadow. Fire and calm. Jishu wasn't trying to fix Luzhou. Luzhou wasn't trying to shatter Jishu. They were learning to hold space for each other's truths. In the final year of school, Jishu gave the graduation speech. He was still the top student. Still the one everyone admired. But when he looked out at the crowd, his eyes found her. And when he spoke about finding light in unexpected places, everyone thought he meant books, grades, or future dreams. But Luzhou knew. He meant her. Their story didn't end there, because real stories don't wrap up in neat little bows. They went off to different colleges in different cities, promised to keep in touch, and found themselves navigating a new kind of distance. There were times they nearly gave up. Times they questioned whether what they had was just a high school phase or something deeper. But somehow, they always found their way back. Because Jishu and Luzhou Chen weren't just a love story, they were a revolution. A reminder that even the most unlikely people can collide and spark something extraordinary. That love doesn't always look like fairy tales, it looks like showing up, again and again, even when it's hard. And that maybe, just maybe, the ones who seem most different from us are the ones who understand us best.